Today I'm going to take up the read and write functions of data file handling. Let's see how to read from a file using the read function and write something onto a file using the write function. Now first of all, I'll put down the syntax for this read and write functions. The read function the syntax will be like this. iStream. Now here char pointer ampersand buff, that's a object, int size of buf, right? Okay. And similarly the write function, now this is of the off stream, so it will be o stream here. The function write, whatever you put here, this has to be typecasted into a character pointer. Ampersand buff int size of buff, like this, right? Okay, now now I'll take up a small program in order to illustrate how this read and write function works. We'll take up an example with a class, because in the remaining part of this lesson, when you do the programs, you'll be using mostly classes and objects. So now I'll take up a program with classes and objects, and we'll be using this read and write function in that, right? Okay, now let's do this. I'm going to do a program to read and write class objects, fine? Okay. Hash include iostream.h, hash include fstream.h, hash include stdlib.h. Now here I am taking a class called employee. Okay, now say char name, suppose I write 30, float salary, and I say char department, again I take it as an array, 10, something like this, right? Sorry. Okay, now this is the class. The public functions of this class, I write void input and void display. Okay, so that's it. That is the class here, fine. The classes, the functions inside the class, they have been declared and they have not been defined, right? Okay, so I have to define the function outside the class using the scope resolution operator. So I write void employee, and here it is input, right? Now inside this we write char ch okay, cout, enter the name, and then cin.getLine, since it is an array, I'm using this, name comma 30, right? Then we write cout enter the salary, endl cin salary, then again cout enter the department, endl cin.getLine again deptt comma 10, like this, right? And then finally you can give a endl like this, right? This is the function. Now the next function, that is the display function, void employee display, right? Now inside this we just have to display, so name the name of the employee will come, I put endl here, then cout salary and the salary of the employee, endl cout department, like this, and then one more endl. Fine. These are the two functions. Now we come to the main method. Here I write int main system cls. This is for clearing the screen. Okay, now I have to make an object of this particular class. The class name is employee, and I make an object here obj1. I am going to store the details of, let's say, 3 employees. And I have to open a fstream object. I call it as file1, right? Okay, now first of all I open this file1.open. I make a file emp.dat. I'm going to open this file, and this file is opened in input as well as output mode. Okay, if you give this iOS in and there is a vertical line, this is opening the files in both the modes. Fine. Okay, now then if not file1, this means it's not able to open that file. So we'll write cout file cannot be opened, endl, and then we say return 1, right? Returning from the main method, right? There is an error here, it's not able to open that particular file. Okay, right. Now then, okay, if your code does not enter this part, that means the file has been opened, right? So if the file is opened, now you write enter the details for 3 employees. Now for entering the details for 3 employees, I have to use a for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. For I is equal to 0 here, this is I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Okay. Then here the object that we made was obj1 within bracket I dot input. So whatever is being inputted, that will go into the first position of that array obj1, right? Okay, that means this will call the input method which we have written here, this input method, and the name, salary and the department will be entered by the user, and whatever the user enters, that will go into this obj1. Here you have this, see, it's like this. This is your obj1, the first position, right? So here this is your 0, fine. So it will go into this position, it will be written here, and after that, now I have to write this. So file1 dot write, see how I am using this function, file1 dot write. Always this typecasting has to be done, it has to be typecasted into a character pointer, and ampersand. Now here you have to give the object, right, obj1 and I, like this, right, and size of within bracket obj1 I. So this particular function takes 2 parameters, that is the object and the size of that object, so that it can write to the file. Okay. Once this is done, this is the loop here, so it will accept for 3 employees and then it will come out of the loop. Okay. Now the next part is, I have written it into the file, now I have to read from that file. Now when you write to a file, your cursor comes to the end of the file, right? Now you want to read from the file, that means you have to place your cursor at the beginning of the file once again. Now I use the seekg function and I say 0, right? Now this seekg 0, okay, this sets the cursor to the beginning of the file, so that the read operation can start from the beginning, right? Okay. Okay, now we are going to write the contents of the file are as follows, right? Okay, now let's see how to read from here. So obviously I've got 3 employees, so again I'm going to use a loop here for int I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Now here I'm going to use the read function, the file1, the object of the f stream, I'm using the same object. If you remember, we opened the object in both input and output mode, right? So file1 dot read here, again char pointer, right, ampersand emp I, sorry, obj1, the object was obj1 I, comma, size of obj1 I, like this. Okay, the same thing, only thing is file1 dot read I have written, right? So once this is read, it comes into this object, fine, Now you have to say obj1 I dot display. Now this will take whatever has been read that comes into this object, and this object is being passed to the display function, which will display the data, right? The display function you had here, cout name salary department. So obj1 dot I means whatever it had read from the first position, that will be displayed, right? Finally, once you have written to the file and also read from the file, the process is over. Now this file 1, the stream has to be closed, right? And then finally return 0. Fine. So this is the function for reading and writing class objects. Okay. So basically this is the class which you have written here. The functions of the class are there, and here the write function comes in this part, right? This one, and the read function comes here. So this is your read. So you have to remember two things, that whenever you have to write your read and write functions, there are two parameters that is passed, and the first parameter has to be converted to your character pointer, that is the object, right? And then you write size of object like this. Okay, this is what is to be done for using the read and write methods. In our questions, in which we'll be doing different operations on binary file, like searching a file or modifying a file, we'll be using classes, and there you will be using the read and write functions only. Whenever you are using objects, then for objects the read and write functions will work, right? Okay, so with that I come to the end of this session on data file handling. Bye.